Hi guys, Donald here, ARCRVA. It has been quite some time, and I'm actually late doing a video this week. Unfortunately, I had some things come up. As you can tell, we are working on some stuff behind us. I'm working on stuff with work. I'm working on other side projects. Uh, I've just got a lot going on. What has been going on um, is we've been having a bit of an internet issue with the speed. I've come to a finalization of realization here. My trusty Netgear WNDR 3700 version 3 router has gotten near the end of its life. So I've had to replace them. What I'm looking at actually over here, off to my right, over on the shelf, is where it used to sit. It's actually upstairs in a different part of the house now. It's not even hooked up. But I've actually moved over to a new router. Actually, I had the hardware here. I put it together, and we're going to talk a little bit about that software today as well as the future for the system itself. And we're also going to talk about something I have been working on as well regarding the networking and everything else. But let me get right into it. Let me switch over to our new screen there, and there you go, pfsense. Uh, it's actually running on a really good system. What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna cut our screen down a hair. I think we'll be good to there. And what I'm gonna do is just kind of make myself tiny. What I'm gonna do is, and I cannot type today. The one thing that I'm actually hiding off on that side of the page over here is actually information I really don't want you guys having. Um, but here we go. pfsense is up and running. I don't care if you guys have the domain names, server addresses, as anybody with half a brain can kind of tell that it is Comcast. That being said, we can see here that we're running an Intel Xeon 3220 quad core processor at 2.4 gigahertz. It's really it's overkill for a regular router. It really is. However, there is a future plan for this. Um, I use anywhere, and for the last 4 or 5 years, I've used anywhere from a terabyte and a half a month down to 800 gigs a month. So I've used anywhere again from 800 gigs minimum. I think I've gone as much little as 5 or 6, but I've only used that as a minimum. I have hit a maximum of almost 2 terabytes a month of internet data. And using that much data is why I actually, oh, sorry, moving the wrong thing there, is why I actually um, moved over to business class. There's no data cap usage from Comcast, even though they don't call it, quote, a data cap. So there is that. But I mean, it's really, really, really beefy. To give you guys an idea, I'm gonna open up a new tab here. We're gonna close out the old one. Now, I don't know how well this is gonna work, but we're gonna try it. And we're going to see what happens. Um, Now, I did a test on my Xbox last night. Uh, let's just say that the numbers you're about to see, it actually hit almost dead on these numbers. It actually hit almost dead on my internet plan. Um, let's go to some speedtest.net. Even though it's flash based and I don't believe in using it because it's flash based, but I always have to use something for a baseline test to even tell if it's working correctly. I don't know why we did that. I don't want to go out to West Virginia. Although what you're about to find out is in itself odd. Just watch the test and watch it just climb. And there we go. Now, the problem that we were having before is it would not do that. Okay? It would jump, 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 and jump up into it. Since the system has been on, since I moved it into position last night, because yesterday when I was working, I actually had it sitting over here behind me on the table. I didn't have enough time to move it. I didn't have enough time to do anything. But there you go. I'm actually consistently hitting that 24 now. I'm consistently hitting over the 100. Now here's the funny thing, and this is why I'm loving it. When I originally was doing these tests yesterday, I was running on Cat 5 cable, either Cat 5e or literally Cat 5. And I noticed some serious inconsistencies, but that's fine. Right now, the whole system is wired in Cat 6, gigabit LAN, everything. Um, I went upstairs last night. Setting up pfSense for an Xbox is a little bit odd. Um, I'm actually, for those of you that are interested in using it and you have an Xbox, I'm going to put a link down in the description here to kind of give you guys that assistance on how to get NAT opened, okay? Um, that being said, I went upstairs last night and I'm like, I want to run a connection test. Alright, fine. This is the first time the Xbox One has hit it, or even come close to hitting it, okay? The Xbox One that the wife got me for Christmas has hit 99.93 megs down. Now, my internet connection is only 100. So it's pretty much tapping out right there. The upload was 23. So it wasn't hitting that before. And if you check out Wendell over at Level 1 Tech on his YouTube channel, and even, look up pfSense. It, they even explain, and I'll even explain it here a little bit. Having a router in that small little rinky-dink box, I've got several upstairs acting as an access point for wireless. Um, they are DDWRT routers. They're Linksys routers. So, give me a second here. I gotta mute us for one quick second. Um, I've not been feeling well. Uh, they are really good for the basic home user, but when you start pushing through hundreds and thousands of gigs of data through your internet, you're bound to break something. They also get hot. And that is what is exactly was going on with the Netgear WNDR 3700 V3 router I had. I've had that router for 5, 6 years, and it's just started getting hot, and I can't keep it cool anymore. So I finally had it yesterday. I said, all right, fine. I'm going to set up a pfSense box. What's it going to hurt? So I set one up, tested it out, looked at the interface. Very basic interface on the server side, but once you get it set up, it's really easy. You just, again, I have it set up as 192.168.2.1. You can set it up to whatever you want, but I've also got it set with a static IP address, which I could have set that in the graphical interface through the web browser. However, I didn't. I actually set that up because when I actually was working on it and actually getting ready to implement it, I set it up in text. So I actually had over here on the table, I've got a monitor here, keyboard, mouse, power, LAN cable, a couple of things, so I can work on, say, a friend's computer, customer computer, what have you. Um, and do project work that we do here. Um, it, it worked out really well. I plugged in all my information, got it set up. The only difference with it is when you go in to do the subnet mask, um, the 255.255.255. Whatever, you don't put that in. You actually put a number in, a two-digit number or a single-digit number. Normally, 255.255.255.0 will give you a number of /24, which is your subnet. So that would mean if you're reading it in a Cisco type environment, that would mean, say, the server's, this computer, the render computer's IP address would be 192.168.7, /24, signifying that it's got that triple 255 with a 0 at the end. Well, I had to get online and actually look up, because for the IP address, because it is static, I had to look up the subnet mask number. And trust me, when you guys try to do this long form, it's not easy. It's actually a headache. I cheated. I used a program on the internet. I don't care. Um, so there's that. I'm very happy with it. Everybody in the house is saying, the internet seems a little more peppier. The future plan for it is to turn it into a cache system as well. So I've got another system that is going to match it almost exactly. We're going to set it up on there, look at getting some really large hard drives in it, or a large hard drive in it, and run it that way. So there's that. Off to the other topic. I have spent the last 3 weeks trying to get something working that I could have sworn I had it working, and I didn't. And I kept trying to implement it and get it working, and I never could get it working. And this is why I mentioned Wendell from Level 1 Techs earlier. I reached out to Wendell, and I told Wendell my problem. And he's like, well, what have you got going on? What are your current settings at? So I said, okay, I opened up a new thread on his forum, took pictures, put them in Paint, put the information up there. He's like, you need to do this. Guys, if you're going to use SMB multi-channel, you need to make sure that if one LAN adapter does not have RSS, make sure that if the other one does have it, you turn it off for the whole system. That being said, that was a minor problem. I had a feeling that was part of it on the client side. We fixed that, put everything in, still had a problem. And those of you that know me know I am a big fan of Linux. I really am. I just so happen to run OpenSUSE. I've been running SUSE since back in the early 2000s, 2003, 2004. Now, back then, I actually started out with Knoppix. Really awesome back then. Then Fedora Core 2 or 3. Then Slackware. And then I branched over into SUSE from there because SUSE, I like the interface. It's pretty friendly, so to speak. And when you use something for so long, it's just easier to keep going with it. What I have discovered is that I've been trying to use SMB multi-channel, which Wendell did a great job doing, a troubleshooting video on it, putting it on his channel. But I couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong. Well, what we figured out was this. It's a server-side problem. Now, because the main server is housed with Linux on its OS, I kept doing digging and digging and digging, and finally, at the middle of this week, end of this week, I discovered that SMB multi-channel was supposed to have been implemented in Samba 4.4.0 and never was. It was never implemented. So I did more research and started running into more current information. And apparently, Samba 4.4.0 came out a while ago. Apparently, I came across an article dated back to 2013-2014 that basically it wasn't ready yet. It hasn't been implemented, and I would have thought that it's free and open source software. Come on, we've got to have people that really want to use this. What it is Linux uses something close to that called NFS, which stands for Network File Share. You basically mount it. It's like having the hard drive there on another system if you're running Linux. Similar to the Samba Share, mounting that drive, mounting that folder basically. However, to what I've been told, or not told but read, NFS has won out for the moment. I'm not happy about it. A lot of the programs that I use for cutting, videos together from, the camera here and everything else, I have to use Windows related software. I've looked into using Linux related software, but I can't get it to exactly work right, and I think that might be because of the system I'm using or the OS is outdated. I don't know. I don't. That being said, um, I do thank Wendell from Level 1 Techs for helping me out with that very aggravating issue I was trying to deal with and trying to figure out the solution to. Again, thank you for the assistance you gave. It drove me up a wall. Everything that I had read, guys, said SMB Multichannel was there in Linux. It wasn't until later articles and researching into it that I found it wasn't there. If it's there, you've got to do some really weird stuff to enable it. It's a lot of work. That part of Linux needs, guys, if you're in the Linux community and into the coding part of it, please reach out to somebody and go, look, he has a point when I am with what I'm about to say. That SMB multi-channel for Linux should be just like it is with Windows. Plug and play, go. And a lot of everything with Linux is that way. And that's why I really like Linux. It's free, it's open source, and it powers almost every other computer in the house. Uh, that we didn't buy with a Windows key. So, that being said, you guys have a good time. Like the video if you liked it, hate it if you hate it. Don't forget to subscribe. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Discord. I'm going to get all the links in the description down here. Have fun, guys.